Good morning, friend. I have a ton to do this weekend as I prepare for my surgery where I'm going to be off for 5 weeks recovering. This weekend is going to be crazy busy. This might be a long video as I take you along with me to get the last of the everything done that needs to be done by the end of the weekend. As you can see, it's only 2 degrees here in Victoria, so it is a chilly morning. First up, I need to go to the dentist and get my bite checked. Okay, well that didn't go as planned. I was supposed to be in for a bite adjustment, but they ended up having to freeze me. As you can see, I've got a one-sided smile happening. So I was gonna head off to my butcher. I did a big pickup last week, but they do pet food batches that have like liver and kidney and beef and things like that, and they freeze them in blocks. So I ordered a few of those because I make all of PD's food. But they're not open till 10 and it's only 9:30. So I'm gonna go to this new place called For Good Measure that I found. So I just put in a big order with Om Foods, OMFOODS.com, and they do all kinds of organic grains, spices, things like that. But they were out of beans. And so I found this place here that has all the same kinds of things, but their price on beans was pretty good and they had them in stock. So I put in an order with them. So we're gonna go pick that up now. Okay, so we have arrived at For Good Measure. Check this out. Let's go in and have a look. So let's see what they have here. Seeds. Oh, they've got pine nuts. I should probably get some of those. We've got a cooler. Oh, here's all their grain section here. Love that almost everything is organic. Let's see what we've got in here. Okay, I'll just show you quickly what I got here. So this is actually just part of a basket for a friend for Christmas. Artichoke bruschetta. Got lots of navy beans here. That was something that I was almost out of. Pinto beans. 5-ounce pinto beans. And then I got a couple of these for Christmas presents as well. And this is a local, souk, which is just outside of Victoria. So I got a couple of those for our Christmas present baskets for people as well. So I'm home from my errands and I've got 3 things I need to get done. 1, I'm going to make vegetable broth. I'm going to can it. Number 2, I need to get beets canned, some from my garden. I'm going to take you out there and show you my beets that are ready to be pulled up and those beets that I got earlier today. And the 3rd thing is I need to can pumpkin as well. So we're going to get started with the vegetable broth first. All right, so first things first, I keep this bag in the freezer and I just put all of my veggie scraps in it. Now, I just used it not too long ago, so this is just what I have available now, some onion skins and some grated zucchini. I'm not sure why it's in there, but anyways, we're going to use that. I also had some organic carrots in the fridge and some celery. Those need to be used. I got a leek this morning, some more organic carrots and some more organic celery as well. And I've got some miso paste, which is the secret ingredient. Now, I've made my own veggie broth in the past, but I always put it in the freezer. But now that I have the pressure canner, I can do it in there. So let me get these washed and we'll get these chopped and in the electric roaster to roast for a little while. So we want to start by chopping these vegetables fairly thin. Now, I don't normally peel organic carrots. However, these were looking a little funky on the skin. So now you could use a mandolin for this if you wanted to. I'm just gonna, it's just as easy, less cleanup if I just slice them. And I'm just throwing everything into the roasting pan. That's where we're gonna mix it with the other ingredients. Okay, I am going to put some more celery and carrots in there, but I will do that after. What I want to do is get a couple of cloves at least. We got some sun out here. So I was going to wait to bring you out and show you my beets. However, I just realized that some of them would be great in the vegetable broth. Well, that was pretty exciting to find some of this wonderfulness that I could use in my vegetable broth. Okay, I've got all the vegetables in the roaster now. Next thing I am going to do is take some of this miso paste, shiro miso, organic miso here. So I just put some warm water in here so that I can mix it around and get the rest of the miso off of the container. Put it in here. And I just put the warm water in so we can break up the miso a little bit. Okay, that's broken up. Now, one more thing I'm going to add. Because I don't have dried mushrooms, I'm just going to use some of this mushroom multi-purpose umami seasoning blend. Just got it from Trader Joe's when I was in the States. We don't have a Trader Joe's where I live. I don't actually know if we have Trader Joe's at all in Canada. If you know that, let me know. I actually love Trader Joe's, so I stocked up when I went to the States. So we'll get some of that nice umami flavor in there. And then we're also going to just add some avocado oil to help them roast. And I don't like any vegetables or fruit or anything like that to go to waste, so all of this will go in my backyard compost. Now, if you know anything you can do with leek tops, I would love to know, because it feels like such a waste to throw out half of the plant, but I don't know what to do with them. So I'm just going to make sure that I put all of the stuff in here. This all goes out to my backyard compost, breaks down over a few months, and then I've got beautiful gold earth to add to my garden beds. Okay, friend, I was stalling a little bit on doing the pumpkins and the beets because I was waiting for my jars, which were in the dishwasher. They're now done and staying warm in there. So I'm ready to get started on the pumpkins. So I've got my pressure canner over here that is just on very, very, very low. So it's ready for the jars when they're ready to go in. And we're going to get started on the pumpkin. Now, disclosure, full disclosure, I have never canned pumpkin before. In fact, I think this is only the third or fourth time I've used my pressure canner. So I'm just telling you that because I'm just following along with the National Center for Home Food Preservation, and that's generally the website I go to find out how to can things. It's sort of the gold standard, I guess, and so that's what I use. So we're going to get these pumpkins canned. Let's do this. So what's the best way to do this? To not cut through the core? I don't know. Okay, so I'll just use this as my compost bowl for now, and let's see how challenging these are to peel. Oh, they're not bad at all, actually. So here I am cutting the last of the pumpkins, and I'm thinking to myself, as you know, it takes about, I don't know, it took 45 minutes probably to cut, peel, pull out the seeds from all of these pumpkins. And I was just thinking to myself, you know, why go through all of this work when you can just go buy a can of pumpkin, or even a can of organic pumpkin if that's what you want. You can buy that. It's not hideously expensive necessarily. So why spend all this time doing it? And I think for me, there's a few reasons that I was thinking about. Number one, I love the idea of being completely self-sufficient.
being able to not rely or not having to rely on systems like the supply chain system, not rely on it. Not that I don't think it's great, not that I don't think it's super convenient, not that I don't use it. I just also, I like the idea of being self-reliant. So that's one reason. And I guess tying into that is part of being self-reliant is knowing how to do these things. And so if I don't know how to do these things, how can I be self-reliant? I'm forever then reliant on the just-in-time supply chain and grocery stores to get all of my food. So that's kind of one and two. And there's another big reason for me, and that is connection to our food. You know, I think we have lost the connection to our food. I think we have been so long now living in this convenience world where you want something, you just go buy it. And I think if anything in the last 2 years has taught us, it's that that doesn't always happen. I think the other thing that there's a lot of focus on is cheap, right? Like, what's the cheapest I can get this for? I don't care if it's clothes or food or what it is, but, you know, in this case, I'm talking about food. And, you know, when you go to the work and the effort of doing things like this, canning your own food, freezing your own food, prepping your own meals, whatever that looks like, growing your own food, you understand what goes into it. So, you know, I know how much work goes into growing your own food. And right now, as I cut these pumpkins up, I am so appreciative. I feel so much gratitude for the farmer or farmers who grew these. And, you know, if I'd gone to grab a can of pumpkin or 2 cans of pumpkin or whatever it was that I needed, I wouldn't have that connection. It comes from a tin. You don't think about it. You just open it and use it. You don't think about, you know, that even necessarily being a vegetable or a fruit. I don't know what pumpkin is. I don't know if it's a fruit or vegetable. Anyways, I just think that there's something about having a connection to your food that makes you appreciate it more. It makes you feel incredibly grateful to the people who grow the food, who make the food. So even if you're not all the time making your own food and processing your own food, growing your own food, you know, I grow a lot and I process a lot, but I also feel much more grateful now for those who grow the things that I can't grow, that I don't have enough space to grow or didn't grow this year or whatever that looks like. So even if I go buy a tin of something now, I have a different thought process about that thing. I think about what it took to grow it, how much water it took, how much time and care and effort, all of their knowledge that they had to have in order to farm these successfully. So I just thought I'd share that with you. I'd love to know for you if any of that resonates with you. And share your own thoughts as well in the comments. I'd love to read them. Okay, so the pumpkin is all chopped up. I'll have to deal with these seeds and pulp in a bit. I'm going to fill this pot with water, let them come to a boil for 1 to 2 minutes, and then we're going to start canning them. So I've had this roasting for about an hour to an hour and a half at this point. Let's see if you can see it. It smells absolutely incredible, and it looks like it's roasting down nicely. So I think at this point, I'm going to add in the water so that the stock can all sort of meld together, because I also want to can this vegetable broth. So I'm going to turn the heat down on this to about 275. Whoops. Stir it once in a while, and in a few hours, this should be ready to can as well. Okay, so I've just taken this off the stove, boiled for 2 minutes, and we are going to can this up now. This is interesting. I have Like I said, never canned pumpkin before. Okay, so it says we need 1 inch headspace, so we really need to respect that. It also says to use the cooking liquid to fill the rest of the jars. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Remove the air bubbles, and then we'll just adjust for the 1 inch headspace. Okay, let's go ahead and debubble them, and then I suspect one or more of them will probably need more liquid or more pumpkin. I'm going to put the next rack on, can up the rest of these, and then we're going to get the pressure canner on to vent. Our timer is almost ready to go off the canned pumpkin. The vegetable stock has been about 1.5 hours, 2 hours now, and it's tasting perfect. So just created some more counter space here for myself. So I've got to strain all of this stuff out, but instead of doing this in 2 steps, I'm just going to do it in 1. So I've got my strainer here, and I'm just going to throw it on the top of my funnel, and I think that will be the easiest, quickest way. And that is the sound of our pumpkin, so I'm just going to turn that off. And we'll let that cool while we carry on and do the rest of these jars. So because these have some fat in them from the oil, I just keep this little thing of vinegar in my cupboard, and I only use it for this purpose. So I'm going to actually wipe the rims with vinegar just to make sure that there's no fat on the rim so that they seal well. Okay, let me get these other ones jarred up and ready for the canner. Okay, so the canner has cooled down. I just had the lid tilted. Let's pull out the pumpkin and see how it looks. Nice, look at that. Beautiful orange color. Looks like we had a little siphoning on some of them here. So we'll have to see if these actually sealed properly or not. So I've rinsed out my canner, heated it up a little bit so that the jars aren't shocked when they go in. And we're going to can 7 quarts because that's what my canner holds. Okay, friends, I think that's a wrap for tonight. I'm just going to put the gauge on the pressure canner, finish this last batch of veggie broth. I'm tired. I can't think straight anymore, so I will see you. Good morning, friend. It is Saturday. It's actually not morning. It's early afternoon. I have been cleaning the house this morning and doing some organizing, but I wanted to show you the veggie broth that we made yesterday, the canned pumpkins as well, which look great. So right now we're just going to check the seals, wash them all down, and then take them out to the pantry and do a little bit of organization out there. So thought you might want to come along with me when I do that. Okay, so I've taken the rings off all of the pumpkin anyways, and started to give them a wash down. You just want to make sure that they're well washed so that there's no food trapped in the little grooves. And I leave my rings off when I put them in the pantry, and that way I make sure that there's not a false seal. So I'm going to get these washed up, and then we're going to take them out to the pantry and do a little bit of organization. So I brought all this stuff out from the house, which needs to be put away somewhere. And so I feel like I need to get more organized about what I'm doing. So I think I'm going to keep these shelves for all the pickled stuff, fruits, veggies, things like that. Beans, meat, broth, things like that I'm actually going to do on a different shelf. So let me get some of that done. The other thing is this drives me crazy that I actually don't know what's up here. And as it grows, I really won't know what's up there. So I just found these labels in my house. They're sticky labels. So I'm just going to put some labels on these so I know exactly what's in each container. Okay, way better. Now I know what is in these. So I moved some things around over here. So I moved the condiments and the juice and the crackers and the pasta down to the far shelf down there. And so that frees up 3 full shelves here. So I can put my barbecue sauces, my meats, my broths, and things like that. So let's do it. So this is the veg broth that we just made yesterday. And actually, I think I'm going to move that down one shelf. And now we can just move the broth over that is over here. We've got ramen broth, turkey broth, beef broth. We can move those over here now. So this is Southwest turkey soup I made. So I think I'll put the soups up here because those are more kind of grab it and go. And I think we'll put the baked beans up there. I need to label those. Those are more baked beans and turtle beans that I canned. And this is canned meat here, so I'll put this tuna in with that. This is the top of a lid from a box, but it's nice and big. So something you probably don't know about me is that I was diagnosed with ADD when I was 37 years old. At the same time my son got diagnosed. Clearly the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So being organized is really hard for me. So I have to work at organization that makes sense for my brain. Okay, well that definitely freed up a lot of space. So I've got more space up here for soup and canned meat, more space up here for canned beans. And over here, I've got barbecue sauce, my pasta sauces, and all my fruit and veggie stuff over here. That feels better. So this is all my canned pumpkin that I made last night. So I'm going to put that down here with the fruit and veggies. These are great to use on these shelves, these boxes. So I also had all of these beans in different places in this pantry, but I bought these Christmas containers to do some of my Christmas gifts in, and I didn't use them all. They're BPA-free plastic, so I've just labeled them. There we go, pinto beans and navy beans, and I've got kidney beans and turtle beans over there. So I've got these now for my beans. Okay, that feels way better. So this middle shelf now is now designated as the fruit and vegetable shelf. I ran out of labels, so I need to go grab some more. And this one here has the dried beans, canned meat, canned soup, and canned broth. Good morning, friend. It is it is very frosty here. Let me just, can you see the frost on the ground? And there's ice in this bucket. Check this out. It was cold last night. So what that means is that I need to get my beets out of the ground. I know they're still in. It's the beginning of December. I think it's December 4th or 5th, and they're still in the ground, and there's no need for them to be there. So I need to pull those out, get those canned today, and I think I'll take the beet greens over to my brother-in-law, who will probably be really happy to have them. So there's some on the ground from yesterday because I took some beet greens to use in the vegetable broth. Yeah, they're all quite small. I didn't expect anything different. I planted them in September, so the fact that I've got any off here is a little bit of a miracle. The good thing, though, is when beets are small, they're tender. So they're not fibrous. And when you harvest beets in the fall, not the winter like I'm doing, but when you harvest them in the fall, they tend to be sweeter. So I'm going to get these beets out of the ground here. We're going to take them inside and can them along with the beets that I bought on Friday. I also realized that I did not yet show you my grow rack that is now in my kitchen, that my son and I put the grow lights on yesterday. And this is, so I've got 4 shelves here with 2 lights each. And the goal is to grow my own greens and microgreens through the winter using this grow rack. So I'll keep you up to date on that. Why bother growing your own beets? Here's why. Here's the beets that came out of my garden. Here's the beets that I bought. Totally different. Now, they're probably a different variety, but I can tell you right now that the taste of these beets is going to be far superior to the taste of these beets. And I know where these come from. I know it was in the soil. I know where the seeds came from. And my own hands went into planting and growing these. Now, it's not a huge harvest. As I said, I only planted them in September. So at the end of September, I think, too. So it was a bit of a risk because I knew that they were not going to, the sun was, the rain was coming and the sun was, not as many sunny days by then. So I knew it was a risk, but still I probably got, a pound, maybe a pound and a half of my own beets that I wouldn't have gotten had I not put something in there instead of put nothing in. So I pickled a huge amount of beets from my own garden this summer. And what I found out in the process of doing that is that you've always got different size beets. So now what I'm going to do is separate them into sizes, which I've done here. So I've got large, medium, and small, and I'm going to layer them in the pot. So the ones at the bottom cook more intensely than the ones at the top. And that way you can kind of cook all the different sizes in the same pot. I don't even know if we're going to get all of these in the same pot. You don't want to crowd it because they need space to cook. So I just got another pot here, same size, and I'm just going to put in all of the smaller beets as well as my beets here. We're going to fill it with water. We're going to let it come to a boil, and we're going to kind of gently boil them until the skins start to fall off. So let's do that now. So while those beets are boiling, I'm just going to peel the carrots. I've just washed them, slice them up. I think I'll raw pack these. And the reason I'm going to do these carrots at the same time is that my canner will be able to can 16 pints at one time. And I'm not going to fill 16 pints, I don't think, with those beets. So I might as well fill the canner to capacity. And so I'm going to put these carrots in as well. And I'm going to raw pack them, meaning I'm not going to cook them before I put them in the jars. And that's because I don't want them to get super mushy in the jars. Again, I've never pressure canned carrots before, but I think if I do the hot pack method where I simmer them for 5 minutes before I put them in the jars, I think we'll have mushier carrots. If you have experience canning carrots, I would love to know, raw pack or hot pack. So I didn't think that I would get very many carrots. I actually got 6 pints. So unless I can get all of the beets into 10 pints or less. It looks like we're going to be doing these, pressure canning these separately. I just got my bag out of the freezer, so I'm going to put the peels in there, this in the backyard compost, and then we'll wait for the beets to be done and move on. Okay, so we're going to start with the small beets, get them drained, and then pop them in some cold water so that the skins slip off and we can start processing them. Okay, let's do this. So all we're going to do is cut the top off, cut the tail off, and then the skins just slip right off. Look at those. Those are beautiful. These are the ones from my garden, the rainbow beets. Isn't it funny? If you do any canning, you'll understand this. And that is, you know, I canned beets this summer, and I got into sort of a system as I was canning them. And this is obviously the second time I've canned beets. And the system is just coming back to me, which is keep the water flowing gently, the cold water, and peel them in the sink. That is the easiest way. And I will definitely make a note to remember next time how I did it. And actually, I'm going to throw a little bit of salt in these. So I'm just going to throw a half a teaspoon of salt in this. Finish filling up. We'll debubble. Got my warm, clean cloth here. We'll just wipe the rim. And I'll get the canner going and ready for these guys. Okay, friend, it looks like we are done here. I've actually let these cool for quite a while, but everything looks beautiful. I can't wait to try these. So thank you for hanging out with me this weekend. I know this was a very long video. I won't see you for a few weeks because, of course, I am going to be in the hospital, and then it'll be a while before I can start cooking again. So I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to seeing you soon.